Unprecedented times in the world of silver price and gold price and precious metal mining stocks. We got a number of major factors coming together, which are corroborating, a confluence, if you will, and supporting the price moves that we have. We're going to talk about the silver chart. Will we consolidate above $100? But we got to talk about a lot more going on. Major banks saying very interesting things about silver in particular. We have crazy data out of the COMEX, even crazier data coming from our friends in the East, in China, and mainstream media, and a lot more. The most important thing that we need to talk about right now is how much we appreciate you joining us down here in the basement. Thank you. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section. That's how we learn is from each other, and super chats are always super appreciated, never ever expected. Let's go out and take a look at what's happening right now in the world of silver, and we will go to Kitco and check this out. Let me make sure we got all the tech up and running here. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on. And here we go. Okay, now we're up. You should be seeing the COMEX world spot price. Let me double check that, which you are. And today we're a little bit, oh, hey, $2. Okay, a little bit better than early. Wow, look at gold. Have you noticed something over the last few days? Gold has, again, kind of taken the lead just in the last few days, which is great because gold is the granddaddy of the precious metals. So, wow, $1.78 for silver. It's crazy to think that a year ago, we would have been jumping for joy for a day that we had $1.78 up in silver. We'll run out here and take a look at the futures price for silver. This is the March contract. You can see at the top, the COMEX, we're going to talk a lot about the COMEX later, $113 per ounce. Wow, guys, let's just take a look at this chart real quickly. That's a one-year chart of silver. And I want to just point out two important things. All right. Well, three important things. Remember, that's where we were last year, probably about $35 in silver. But look at the steady consolidation that occurred, then around $40, then around $50. And yes, the move up did accelerate. But again, I want to point out, we did not see a dramatic spike up. We did not have a squeeze. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. We did have a squeeze, like a semi-squeeze or however you want to say it, but we did not spike up, which is good because spikes up, if that red line had gone straight up like it did there, are always accompanied by red lines going right back down. So very interesting developments on, I want to point out one more thing on this chart. Guys, silver stackers, basement dwellers, there's $100 on the silver chart. If we can consolidate above $100, then we can likely see the big price moves that we're hearing about, like this one from who? Citibank? What did Citibank just say? This is going to make your hair curl, guys. From Reuters, Citibank. And I'll tell you why this is important. Just raised its 0 to 3 month. I guess that means the present moment. Silver forecast to $150. Citibank. When big banks start admitting numbers like this, you know the real move is already bigger. Banks never call the top. And let's not forget that Bank of America even mentioned the potential that the silver price could get to $309. Okay, the big banks chase reality after it breaks. And that is so true. That is so important for us to remember. These big banks are always behind the curve. When I was doing research for this video, I put into Google Citibank gold predictions. And like last year, they were talking about, gold may get to $3,500, and we know what gold has done. I mean, heck, we're at 52, 53 right now. They chase reality after it breaks. This will not be a rally. It'll be a repricing event. And this, right, is from Reuters. Reuters and Bloomberg are the two biggest mainstream sources of financial data We're going to talk later about this phase 1, phase 2. It's very interesting about the word getting out about silver and gold, which can bring thousands, millions of more people into the precious metals sector. And what about this talk? Oh, let's go back. I need to look you in the eye. And we got more to talk about on this as well. But people are saying, oh, silver's going to crash. Silver's going to crash. Silver's at a crazy all-time high. Well, let's look at what 1980 silver and gold price would be if we adjusted them for the real inflation numbers. This first one came from Silver Degen, who pointed out, okay, using ShadowStats, the 1980 silver price of $50 adjusted for inflation is $1,639. What they're saying is the CPI numbers that come from our government, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, right? Everybody knows are a bunch of bunk. And if you actually used the data and calculated the inflation data the same way that they did back in 1980, today's price of silver would be $1,639. They basically changed the way they calculate inflation. What they did was they took out everything that us normal people have to actually buy and did some voodoo magic to it. That's why people are very suspicious of the CPI numbers. It says right here, in red, if you're trying to decide if 115 silver is too expensive or quote unquote the top, just know that we are nowhere near the top. You're still super early. Again, just his opinion, right? I'm not a financial advisor. Always be responsible. Do your own research. Consider what I say and everybody else out there, and then listen to yourself. But he says, I'll stop buying silver once the U.S. government stops printing money and shows some fiscal responsibility. Until then, I will continue to buy. And let's go look at gold, because this is real interesting from Gold Silver HQ. He says gold, another way to look at this is gold is now 7.2x away from real inflation adjusted all-time high. So not 7%, over 7 times away. Okay, silver is now, based on the data we just looked at, over 15 times away from its real inflation adjusted all-time high. And Goldfish charts, again, using ShadowStats, said the 1980 high for gold, using ShadowStats, would be $36,886. He had a little bit of a different but higher calculation for silver, which would be $1,706. And there's a bonus feature, like the previous author pointed out, right? When the U.S. government starts to demonstrate to us some fiscal responsibility, not spending $2 trillion more per year than we bring in, then maybe we'll think about stopping to buy silver, because that will lead to the dollar going down. But there's something very interesting. We talked about this yesterday, right? The DXY index had a horrible day yesterday. Here, let's look at the headlines, and then I'll tell you what's super interesting about this, and a great, I think, source of future support for the silver and gold price. From NBC News, and I'd like to thank Upstairs Susie for sharing this article with me last night. Dollar has its worst day since April after Trump says he's not concerned with the recent slide. So that was the big news story yesterday, right? The dollar's going down. Trump comes out and says, I'm not concerned about the dollar, blah, blah. Trump wants it, right? He's not concerned because Trump wants a cheaper dollar. It's the only way they can keep the system alive is with a dollar that is devalued, okay? But what's super exciting about what's happening with the DXY index is all the top analysts are saying the same thing. If you had told them 2 years ago that the gold price would be above 5,200 and that silver would be above $100, they would have said that the DXY index would be something around 60 or 70. And guys, while the DXY is coming down and below 100, all right, it's still at 96. If the DXY continues to slide, which I think is likely, although it is just a comparison of a bunch of crappy currencies, right, fiat currencies, nonetheless, Trump wants a lower dollar. It will be a massive continued And it hasn't really even started yet. If you look at a long-term chart of the DXY index, it has spent decades well below 100. It's gotten as low as 60 or 70 in the past. If that happens, okay, I don't think anyone's expecting the dollar to go up. Excuse me. If that happens, it will be a continued tailwind for the price of gold and silver. Let's go to China. We love China. China is the new king of silver and gold, for that matter, the East. And we have some unbelievable data about China. Then we're going to look at the COMEX, right? Those people who some speculate have manipulated the price of silver and gold over the years. Before we do that, thank you to First Mint for sponsoring Ron's Basement. They are a silver exclusive, a silver specialist mint in Las Vegas, Nevada. They get their silver from First Majestic, all right, who owns First Mint. They mine it in Mexico. Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you. Send it to Las Vegas, Nevada, where it's transformed into world-class silver bullion products, and then it gets shipped straight to you, right? From the mine to the mint to you. You can learn more about them here at firstmint.com. Let's see. Man, I have so many things to share with you guys today. There it is right there. There's their store. Free shipping on orders over $299. Bars, rounds, accessories, and the Folds of Honor line of products that benefits the Folds of Honor foundation. And let's get back here. Here we go. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, gosh, we got so much. All right, we're going to go to this one. Here we go. China. All right, guys, there is so much going on. I appreciate you sticking with me on this one. Let's look at the price of silver in China. Oh, you know what? I want to do something new here. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go check out the price of silver in China, if you will. And what we have is the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the physical market for silver. Yes, feast your eyes on that. In China, we have a $131 silver price on the physical market in China. Now, what's interesting here is on the Shanghai Futures Exchange, right? That's the Shanghai Gold Exchange. On the Futures Exchange, the price is actually a little lower, which indicates to us that the Chinese market is in a state of backwardation, which is very unusual and could possibly indicate that there is some concern about being able to get future deliveries of silver in China. Next, all right. Oh, this is interesting. All right, let's go out and look at the actual physical price. What could you sell your silver for in China? This tells us, again, they're setting the silver physical price, and this is a physical market in which we are existing. But let's look at some proof outside of the Shanghai Gold Exchange, outside of the Shanghai Futures Exchange, about what is really happening with silver in China. And we're going to go out to this great article from Metals and Miners on their Substack. And we'll move down here. We're going to talk about this first. We'll talk about the West. Okay. And then we're going to go to this great data from China. But it says in the West, a fierce psychological war is being waged. That's us. Most of us are in the West, waged against silver investors. The price is slammed from a high of 117 down to 103, and then back up to 112, and then down to 107, and then back to 111. In back-to-back days, creating gut-wrenching volatility. Remember that. Designed to shake us out of our positions. We're going to go back to China, but this is critical for us to understand. There were documents that were released from the mid-1970s when they were setting up the futures markets, when they were setting up the LBMA. I think they were released as part of the WikiLeaks thing. I don't know, but these are real documents, and it says in black and white in these documents that they want to set up these paper markets so that they can induce volatility to discourage Western investors from buying precious metals, okay? And that's exactly what they're talking about in that article. It can be gut-wrenching. Now, for those of you who've been doing it for a while, like myself, we're kind of used to it, right? Big, crazy, unexplainable moves in the paper markets. But back to China, the important thing is our friends in China are now taking over. And in the second part of this great article, they bring up some interesting points. It says, meanwhile, On the other side of the world, a completely different reality is unfolding. In China, the engine of global industry and the world's largest consumer of commodities, physical silver is trading at the US dollar equivalent of about $130 per ounce. That's on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. We just looked at that. Now, in purple, get that box out of the way. This is crazy. The country's largest precious metals recycler, Ran Gatong Gold, is offering to buy back silver from its citizens at $128.52 per ounce. This is not a paper price on a futures exchange. This is the price for real physical metal in the largest and most important manufacturing market in the world. Okay, that's the real. That means if you and I, right, got on a boat, well, we might take an airplane, but maybe a boat would be nicer, relax for a little bit, and went to China with some silver, that we could turn it in to a recycler in China for 100. That's the physical price of silver. They are the manufacturing a giant of the world. That's what silver is worth, and they are setting the price. It's crazy. It's exciting. More news out of China about silver, and we'll go here. Okay, Hansa Cerny, our good friend, said China just halted trading in its only pure play silver fund, not because silver's too risky, but because demand drove the price of this, probably like an ETF, I would imagine, to far above its underlying assets. That's not a bubble. That's paper structures failing to keep up with physical reality. If silver were abundant, right, there would be no halts. There would be no massive premiums. There would be no regulators stepping in. Halts don't signal excess supply. They signal a shortage. Price discovery is shifting east. Paper is lagging. Physical is setting the rules, and it's doing it in China. Interesting video footage. We'll just watch a little bit of this, and it is from a few weeks back, but just to show you how different the markets are in China. Okay, this is from the Shenzhen Shubie market, which is a huge physical market in China. Watch this. We'll just watch it for a few seconds.
Take a look at what's happening in Shenzhen's Shuibei. Wow, there's so many people all rushing to grab silver. Look, they don't even have enough to go around. With so many people fighting for the silver, they're even bringing in tow trucks to haul it away. Just take a look. In recent days, the area around Shenzhen's Teli Shuibei Jewelry Building, China's largest hub for the gold and jewelry industry, has seen a frenzy over silver bars and silver sheets. One vlogger reported that late at night, people were still fighting for silver sheets. To clarify, in the physical silver investment and trading sector, silver sheets are often referred to as silver bars, silver bricks, silver ingots, or national standard silver sheets. These are raw materials for silver.
All right, enough of that, guys. We're going to come back now to the United States, to the West, our good friends at the COMEX and the LBMA. Doesn't all that silver in China look good, though? Don't you wish we had that in the United States, right? We got, you know what we got in the United States? We got paper. More on that in a second. Okay, but let's go check out what's happening in the West with the silver market right now. First, we're going to go to the dude for the dude update of the day. Yesterday, the silver market traded, only 1.36 billion ounces. Only almost 2 times what the mining sector is able to mine in a year. Almost 2 times. Okay, now what's interesting here in green, the COMEX is over there shaking. I can see him shaking. Had 0 deliveries for the 7th straight day. The hits just keep on coming, okay? And in a sign of what some people may say desperation, yesterday we got this news. COMEX hiked the silver margins again. That was, and it's kind of like, oh, gosh, today's Fed day. I forgot to talk about that. Like, and we don't even really talk about Fed Day anymore because it's like, the Fed has lost their potency. It's kind of like the COMEX with raising margin rates. They've done it now, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Everybody's like, yeah, hey, guess what, guys? That used to work, but you cried chicken too many times. We don't, or cried wolf, whatever. Chicken, wolf, I don't know. So that to me, it just shows possibly a sign of desperation. Some people do say that it's just normal. As the price rises, the COMEX has to raise their margins. I'll leave that up to you guys to debate. Let's just say that the paper markets are so screwed up. And I've got a special treat for you today. Someone has disclosed and shown us what an actual COMEX paper contract looks at. Let's go take a look at this. Very interesting. I've never seen one before, but now it's in the public. This came from Goonie Farms. She said, until a COMEX contract is treated like this, we have not reached the top. And here you go. Get ready. Hold on. I got to share the right screen. There we are. Goonie Farms. Until a COMEX contract is treated like this, we have not reached the top. Waiting for that to pull up. There you go. And here it is, guys. Feast your eyes on this. That's a 1,000 ounce COMEX silver contract. And then I got super excited because I was like, you know what? I didn't realize that I could actually create an infinite amount of silver. Here, I'll share this picture with you. Upstairs, Susie's going to kill me probably, but I've got my own printing press down here in the basement. There it is. All right, I always keep a roll of toilet paper. I've got it hooked up there with some galvanized fencing wire in the basement because sometimes you don't need a whole big sheet, right? A whole big paper towel. So I would recommend it. I actually had a business idea like a man's toilet paper dispenser that you could mount on your wall in your garage or your workshop. Anyway, I can now print infinite amounts of silver. Here you go, right? I got one sheet out to show you guys. That's basically what it's come to with paper silver, literally toilet paper at this point. All right, next we're going to talk about some big developments in the world of mainstream. We talked about the tokenization of gold. Everybody's getting crazy. Now all the other silver and gold YouTubers are talking about, oh, Tether. We talked about that months ago, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. But Tether is now the 30th largest, or within the top 30 holders of gold in the world, including world central banks. Tether, it's a crypto company. They have tokenized gold. They have all this gold in a big vault in Switzerland, now owns more gold than Australia, than Qatar, and the country of Greece. Okay. Again, well, maybe I'll talk about it more with you tomorrow. But guys, we were talking about that 2-3 months ago when everybody was like, oh, it's crypto. And look, you don't have to like crypto to love that story. Tether's buying, they're not just buying physical gold. From what I understand, they're like making investments into gold royalty companies and other things as well. What that creates is massive potential demand for the future, right? As they kind of like when the ETFs came out, right? And the other exciting thing is there's a bright future for tokenized silver as well. These companies have to have the metal, right? They have to be trusted, and they do. Everybody knows Tether has just this massive stockpile. They bought like 27, I don't know, a boatload of gold. They just announced it yesterday during the fourth quarter of last year. All right, man, we got so much more to talk about. Oh, the mainstream media stories. This is the other. We got so many secret hidden factors that can continue to propel gold and silver in the coming months. One of which is, right, that we are now just in phase one of the mainstream media. I'm going to show you some examples of that. First, I want to say thank you to First Mining Gold for sponsoring Ron's Basement. They're a development stage gold mining company. They have 2 huge development stage projects in Canada, millions of ounces of gold in the ground in Canada, and the big mining companies are clamoring, right, to replace the gold. They're feverishly mining right now at record profits, but also to grow, okay? And First Mining Gold has 2 of the biggest, best development stage projects in a great jurisdiction, which is Canada. There aren't many of them. You can learn more about First Mining Gold at firstmininggold.com. Let's go see what's going on in mainstream media, because when the other people wake up, right, the herd, not us, right? Your part, congratulations. You did it. You did a great job. You dug in. You learned about the world monetary financial system. You woke up. The big light bulb went off in your head at some point like, oh, paper money, right, is basically this, right? But there's a lot of people, especially in the United States of America, that are still waking up right now. And we are just in phase one, but we're starting to see more and more recognition of what is going on in the precious metal sector. I'll let you look at my roll of toilet paper there for just one more second. And now we're going to go to this one first. The Washington Post puts out an article yesterday, why gold and silver prices are surging at breakneck speeds. That's not news to you, right? That's not news to me, but that's news to a bunch of people all around the United States, all around the world that are reading these articles now starting to come out on mainstream media about gold and silver. A record-setting rally in precious metals comes as global investors diversify away from the United States dollar in a phenomenon that nobody understands, known as debasement trade, named after Ron's basement, which you've been a part of now for however long you've been here. And by the way, thank you for being here. You really are important, right? This does not happen without you. I wouldn't just sit down here and make videos for nobody. So thank you for being here. Remember, it's free to subscribe and it makes Upstairs Susie very happy. Please press the subscribe button. Now let's go to level 2. What about the other non-big mainstream, but that level below where a lot of the young people, the smart people, are starting to get their knowledge, right? We looked at this guy, Mario Narwhal, yesterday with 3 million followers that none of us have heard of, which is a good thing because, right, he's not in the gold and silver bubble. 3 million people that follow him are younger and outside of the gold and silver bubble. All those people reading that article from the Washington Post are outside of our bubble. We're in the happy bubble. I don't mean bubble like price. I mean bubble like bubble. Okay. Tucker Carlson is another one. I'm not making this is not a political channel, but I've always loved Tucker Carlson. I think he's an honest guy and a good person. And look at what's going on with him right now. Here is, and again, not a political statement, but Battalion Metals put this out. Why did Tucker Carlson turn down $20 million a year to build a gold company you can actually trust, right? And this has all been happening just in the last 2 months. Let's watch a few seconds of this. It's interesting. And then a warning for you as well. A big, big, big warning.
Are robbing you. They sell gold at 40, 50, 100% markup over its spot price by fooling the customers, most of whom are elderly Fox News viewers, some of the best people in America. So we're starting our own gold company. A couple of years ago, I got fired from Fox News, and immediately I got a call from a gold company asking me to pitch its product. And then a couple of other gold companies called me. And within a week, I was being offered $20 million to front for a gold company. How is a company that's selling a commodity making enough money to pay one guy $20 million a year to sell its product? And so I called the woman I buy gold from. And I said, what is this? And she said,
okay, so Tucker, right, it has started or is part of a very reputable gold and silver company. We got a big warning coming about the silver price crashing. But before we do that, and I haven't done this for a long time, I consider this to be a public service announcement. Please, if you're going to convert any of your IRA money, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you something you may want to consider. If you're going to convert IRA money into precious metals, be very, very careful because in that sector, there are some great companies, no doubt about it. But there are also a lot of companies, some of which, like he said, maybe advertise on some of the big cable news networks that don't give people a good deal. They overcharge people by 20, 30, 40, 50% or more. If you're going to do that, the one thing I always say is at the end of the day, find out how many actual ounces of metal you're going to get, gold or silver, and compare that to the current spot price. If you're paying 20 or 30 or 40% more, you aren't getting a good deal. So please, please, please be careful with that. There are some great companies, no doubt, out there that do IRA conversions. that there's also, unfortunately, some that take advantage. They try to sell people like weird weight, like 1/8 or 1/12 ounce coins or whatever, and it gets confusing. So if you're going to do it, be careful, take your time. That's all. I'm done. Let's move on. Oh, here, how about another mainstream? This is, I gotcha. Yes, I will. I will get to the super chats and the questions. I promise you. Let's look at what's going on right now. This is a great inverse indicator. They call it the Cramer inverse indicator. He said this yesterday. I'm a huge gold bug, but I'm not a silver bug. This is Jim Cramer from CNBC. Everybody laughs when they say his name. If there were no sentimental value to it, I would try to cash in on my family's silver. It's getting ridiculous, okay? So there's a thing out there in the financial world, they call it the inverse Cramer indicator, because he's, let's just say, made some calls that didn't turn out so well in the past. So we can be grateful, number one, that he said that. And the other thing is the fact that he's talking about silver. It goes back to that old theory that any press coverage is good press coverage. People are hearing about silver. It's just starting. We're in phase one of being talked about in the mainstream media. Okay, we got more to talk about, a lot more. A big warning from silver from the most unlikely source, a silver crash. We'll cover that. Maybe we don't need to be so worried. And then we'll talk about what's going on in the United States retail silver investment market. There's a lot of fur and drama going on around that. We'll cover that as well. First, I will go out. I need this. Let me get out here. We got some super chats. Wow, 3 super chats and a question. Colleen Stacks, thank you for the super chat. What would happen if we shut off China and other countries from buying our silver? You know, that's a very interesting question. But one of the realities is we don't produce a lot of silver in the United States. China refines and produces like 60 to 70% of the world's silver. So that's a great question, Colleen. I haven't really considered it. You know, at this point, there is this arbitrage, they call it, opportunity for people to buy silver in the West, COMEX and the LBMA, and ship it to China. If we shut it down, my gut feeling would be that would actually be possibly very good for the silver price, because the more they try to control what's going on with silver, it's like the cat's out of the bag at this point. So thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Let's pull Colleen up there. Everybody can see her. Hey, Colleen. Next one is from our friend Kim Waxman. Hello, Kim. Thank you for all the info. I'm feeling a little more comfortable about having to do this alone. Yeah, that's one thing for sure. Anybody out there, thank you, Kim, for the super chat. We'll pull you up. Anybody out there who's been in silver, it could feel lonely. We went through the valley of despair together, okay? Next one is up. It's not feeling lonely anymore. This came from Bob Money 210. I've only found buyback prices on SD bullion, but why do you think they're paying $4 more per ounce to buy 100-ounce bars versus 1-ounce generic? That's a great question, Bob. I would suspect, right, it's probably easier for the refiners to melt down the bigger bars, the 10-ounce bars, the 100-ounce bars, even the 1,000-ounce bars. And right now, the whole kind of refining supply chain in the West is in a state of turmoil. I don't think it's much better in China. But if I had to give an answer to that question, if you forced me, I'd say that's the reason why, right? They don't want junk silver. They don't really want a lot of silverware. And there's a lot going on. So I'm just kind of telling you what I'm hearing. But there's a lot of different opinions as well. And that possibly they just want the bigger bars because they're easier to melt down. All right, guys, next up, let's talk about the silver price crashing. Okay. And then there's an explanation, I think, as to why this person or persons is saying this. Let's go out to this article from PV Magazine, okay? And they have a big article, caught everybody's eye. Analysts warn of a possible sudden silver price fall. I won't bore you with the article. It basically says, oh, the silver market's in a bubble. Don't worry, silver's going to go down. They talked to, who is it? Yeah, they talked to somebody from Bloomberg and StoneX about this. what's interesting is as I dug in a little bit, I'm like, what does PV stand for? And you know what it stands for? I believe, because look at all these advertisements on this. Photovoltaic, which is the solar industry. As you can see, look at all these solar panels. It's a solar panel magazine. And then we put two and two together and realize that, oh yeah, the solar industry needs a huge amount of silver. Wouldn't it maybe behoove one of their media magazines to put out stories saying that the silver price is going to go down? I don't know. I'm just saying, speculating that we need to consider the source of that article when they're talking about silver going down, 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 down. Okay. What about the mining stocks? Look, there's an important reason why we want to follow what's going on in the gold and silver mining stocks, because it hasn't really started yet. The mining stocks are still lagging the price of the metal. The silver mining stocks don't yet believe that the silver price can actually stay at 100, 110, 150, 90, 80, right? The silver mining stocks are priced like the silver price is $40 or $50 per ounce. What's so important for us to realize is that when the market believes and then realizes how undervalued these stocks are, and it starts to get a lot of attention from the generalist investors, it's going to bring a lot more attention to the overall precious metals, gold and silver ecosystem. And we've got some incredible data to look at. I'm going to show you a chart here about silver miners to silver in a second. But before we do that, let's listen to what like one of the kings of the world of silver and gold has to say. This is Doug Casey, right? He's the guy that coined if I got it right, coined that phrase. It's going to be like trying to drain Hoover Dam with a garden hose. And let's get him up on the screen. Okay, here we go. And let's see what Doug Casey has to say. This is about a minute long.
Mining stocks in general, but particularly gold stocks, even after their recent run 2-3 times up, something like that, are still at about the lowest level in history. Of all the silver in the world is mined as a byproduct of gold or lead or zinc mining or copper. So that there's not a lot of silver miners out there. And by major bull markets, I mean when the crappy little stocks all go 10 to 1 as a group, and some stocks go 100 to 1. And occasionally you get 1,000 to 1 shot, which has actually happened to me. Yeah, the mining stocks is where you should be right now because they're extraordinarily cheap relative to everything. The public's not involved in this, so even though the market's double, triple, whatever, it's not even it's just barely in the takeoff stage. I feel pretty confident, and of course, whenever I feel confident about something, I like to pinch myself and say, "Wait a minute, I must be wrong."
Did you hear what he said? Oh, hold on here. I may have lost you guys, having some tech issues. There we go. I think we're back now. The mining stocks are at their lowest level in history. I want to show you a chart which indicates that things may have changed a little bit since this chart came out, but the old Silver Santa shared this one. Oh, hold on here. There we go. Now it should be up for you. Comparing the junior silver mining stocks to the price of silver. So this is a ratio, okay? It compares the SILJ, which is the junior silver miners ETF. You can see that there, to the price of silver. What is super interesting here, guys, and I remember because I was around, this is 2016. You can see how low that ratio got, okay? You can see that right now, that ratio got to the same level while we have silver at over $100 per ounce. Now, if we go out and look at the SILJ, let's get this up. Boom. Yep, it's the amplified junior silver miners ETF. And this chart is, I believe, a 6-month chart of that. You can see that it's done quite well, despite the fact that in even over the last few days, right, up, 25, 30%, we still have a long, long way to run. So since this chart had come out, okay, there has been some change, no doubt about it. But it's hard to read on here. This is about 0.3, 0.39%. This is at 1-to-1. Okay. That would be the SILJ getting up to $100. And as we just saw, right now it's at, I don't know, $39. Okay. This is what happened after the 2006 low when it shot up. I remember that. I was in the market at that point. Now, all that being said, please always be careful. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. These things are risky. Stocks, mining stocks, cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, all of it's risky. Be responsible. Don't ever expose yourself to too much risk. Okay. Do your own research, all that great stuff. What about this drama that's going on out there right now? And they're making a big deal out of it. And I think really overemphasizing its importance. Okay, cool. Thank you, Susie. I'll go check the super chats again before we get done. But everybody's all upset about this fact that, oh, I can't sell my silver in the United States. I can't. And I understand, right? Now, me personally, people ask me what's the best way to sell silver. And I'm very honest. I say, I don't know. Because guess what? I have never sold an ounce of silver in my life. I look at silver. I love it, but I also look at it rationally as a generational investment. I don't even keep it at the house. I keep it off-site. Okay, so I'm not the silver selling expert, but there are reports, and I see even my local coin shop had a thing up the other day saying we aren't buying silver back until we can do it at what we think is a fair price. I think a lot of that has to do with the refining and the wholesale liquidity issues that are going on in the extraordinary period of time that we are in right now in the silver market. If we consolidate above $100, I would think, right? Again, I'm giving you my opinion that in a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, you'll be able to sell as much silver as you want at close to the spot price once things kind of normalize again. But what's even more important, okay, because we're getting all these reports are coming in and people are emailing me and I'm talking to people saying that local coin shops are saying, you know, they're getting more people that want to sell silver than buy silver and blah, blah. It's like, okay. And that, oh, it's a sign of a bubble. No, it's not. Okay. Because of two things. And I'll talk about those two things. But first, I want to show a short clip that Chris Marcus from Arcadia Economics shared, talking to one of the world's most respected and larger online bullion dealers. Let's see if I can get this up. This was on Chris Marcus shared it on Arcadia Economics, and it was an interview that Kai Hoffman did with the CEO owner of, I believe it is Money Metals. Let's just listen, because this is a big online bullion dealer. Remember that there's a difference between your local coin shops and online bullion dealers, just like there's a big difference between your local mom and pop, general goods store and Amazon. Okay. I'll talk about more about that in a second.
People selling their gold and particularly silver.
Hold on, guys. I think I didn't share the screen properly. Let's go back and we'll start here. Okay, here we go.
First of all, I'd say it's total pandemonium right now in the retail market. And it's pandemonium both on the selling, people selling their gold and particularly silver, but also buying. And we're seeing levels of demand that we have not seen since COVID and actually exceeding that last month and the last 3 or 4 weeks on the retail side.
So one of the largest gold and silver dealers is now reporting conditions that are in excess of what we saw during COVID, which...
Okay, thank you, Chris Marcus from Arcadia Economics and Kai Hoffman and Stefan Gleason for sharing that with us. You heard it. That is one of the United States' bigger online bullion dealers saying, yeah, people are trying to sell back, but as well, demand is pandemonium right now, bigger and higher than what we had during C19. Do you remember? I bought some silver real early in the C19 crisis. Guys, it was a situation where you had to wait 6 to 8 to 10 weeks to get your actual silver. So, and the other thing I want to say, that let's back up, because again, there's all this, drama going on right now in the silver market. We also can look at online sales, which are robust, we're hearing, but also look at what's going on in China as well. And this is a worldwide market, no matter how you slice it or dice it. That's one of the many beautiful things about silver. This is not just St. Louis, the United States, right? North America, South America. Silver is a global market. Gold is a global market, right? It is the universal store of value. It is independent from any political system or anything else. They can try to manipulate it. And then we're seeing what's happened for the COMEX and the LBMA now after their decades of trying. It is global. It is worldwide. Anywhere, spin the globe, close your eyes, stick your finger on it, and your silver and your gold are valuable there. I guarantee it. But wait, there's more, because it's not just universally valuable, it's also timeless. Think about that, right? Go back 1,000, go back 3. I've read that the silver market is one of the oldest markets in the world. And then some guy sent me a big long email saying I was wrong, that the fish market was older. Well, whatever, okay? Besides fish, gold, silver, and probably gold are the oldest market. What comes with age, right? Wisdom. Any of you who have grown a little bit older like I have, I think a lot different about myself and about the world and everything else at 55 than I did at 25. With age comes wisdom, right? So what we're talking about, what we're seeing right now in the precious metals market is the result of not just decades, but hundreds and thousands of years of experience. Let's go back out. We got more super chats. You guys are super generous today. Here we go. Philip Pets Chow. Thank you, Philip. I'm in Texas. I wish I had a basement. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I can't imagine. It's weird. On a person.
So do you happen to know about the first mint RB VIP discount code update?
Okay. Thank you upstairs, Susie. Yes. As soon as I'm done here, I will send a message to my contact at First Mint to let him know that the VIP RB discount code has not been working. So I will take care of that right when we're done. Okay. But I can't imagine not having a basement. I look at like 99% of the houses in St. Louis have basements, and except for ones that are built on the river bluff where it's all rock. It's like, I don't know how you guys do it. When I'm in Florida, I'm like, where do they put all their stuff? Anyway, all right, let's go on. One more super chat. We'll pull you up there, and we got one from Rolex. I say, as I say before, $78, $300. All right, my friend. All right, guys, thanks for joining me down here in the basement. Don't forget, please subscribe to the channel. It's super nice that you are part of this community. Susie and I appreciate all of you. We're in for some wild rides. We used to say, right, that we're together and that we'll navigate the choppy waters of gold and silver. There will be choppy waters ahead, but I think at the end of those choppy waters, there's even more good times to be had for us in the precious metals sector. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you, yes, you, next time.